above, so below. Feel the pain in my soul, the red pill dissolve. Organized, no matter the cost. Politicians start wars, they don't fight, they sit the poor. And nothing lasts forever as long as we stay together. Give hell to the masses, watch the unity rapture. This is for the kids and the culture. It's one love, one growth, one light warriors. Hello everybody out there on the Jabari Vok page and everything. Thank you so much for your support. The page is growing, got over 1,000 followers this past few weeks on Instagram. Thank you guys so much for the support. I'm very, very humble. I didn't realize that it was going to be like that so fastly. I do not have my mic with me today because I just moved and there's boxes everywhere and I can't find my mic. So
keeping it real.
Right.
Same thing, just keeping it real over here. We're just showing up. That's what matters, you know?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Just showing up. And I have Katie Chonacas, right? Chonacas. Yeah. I keep saying Chonacas. Chonacas. Okay. And
great to me.
That's so thank you so much for coming on the podcast.
Of course.
I remember you when I was younger on Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
Yes.
Yes. I think I was in high school. I think it was in either high school or middle school.
Love that show. So good.
Yeah. I was like, oh shoot, she was the prom date. I recognize her.
Yeah, and everyone who tells me, they're just like, oh my God, I love that show. That show's amazing. And it just lifts my spirit that the journey I've walked on, millions, multi-millions of people all around the world. And it's just like the choices I've made along my journey, these, people just light up and they're like, oh my God, that was my favorite episode. You were his prom date? Like, how cool is that? Like Charlie Day's prom date. And he's legendary. He's amazing. And I love following his career.
What was that like working with Charlie Day? He seems like a very incredible individual.
Yeah, really into his power, really into his craft. Like the whole team, they were just like so into their craft, as actors and creators, and they created the show and produced it and everything. So they were on multi-dimensional levels, which is so cool. Not just showing up as an actor on set, which I did,
right.
This is their production. I've had my own production. So there's just more stakes and there's more into it, so it's really, really awesome. Yeah.
That's really dope. And the original writer, the producers and the writers, they're all like friends, right? Like some are married together and they knew each other for a long time. That's cute. That's adorable.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that's how it is with my partner that I have, Nikki Scorpio and Alessandra Levy. We've been producing partners for, over 5 years, and we've done a bunch of projects together through the union. And that's how it is. Like a lot of the directors, when you look at the big directors, the cinematographers, they do every movie together. They make a partnership. They get in bed together, and they make a commitment, and they're, look at Steven Spielberg and all the people, they use the same cinematographers over and over because you have to build a trusted source and a trusted team with people, so it's instead of people pleasing and just wanting to do everything for everyone, which I've done, and it leads to great misery and insecurity. You really, not on a literal level, but you on as a reference, you wouldn't want to get into bed with everyone, right? You wouldn't literally go to sleep with everyone. You don't really want to break bread with everyone. So, Robin Graham, she's a branding specialist. She was on my podcast. She's all over the place. And she was, because I was trying to people please everyone. And I'm trying to do things with my brand. And she's just like, you actually don't want to wake up and serve everyone, even though you want everyone to like you and you want everyone to buy your products. You actually don't, because when you actually have them buy your products, they're intentionally in the world, in their home. If it's going to be better for them, cool. But they're you don't want, it's customer service when you have a business. So do I want to wake up serving this kind of person? No, I don't. I want to wake up knowing who I want to serve, because they're going to be energetically with me throughout my day. And then at the end of my day in my personal home, I'm going to talk to my family and friends about that. And I'm going to go to sleep, and I'm going to dream and dismantle all those things. And I'm going to wake up the next day to serve people again. So what kind of people do I want to be serving? Right. I think that principle applies for all areas of business and all areas of life. So I'm really excited about the choices I've made in my career and the people that I've worked with thus far. I've been to bat with a lot more than you know and that you've seen.
Right.
And that's how the entertainment industry is. That's how I think life is. You know, you do 1,000,000 shots and you get one, or you do 100 shots, you get one. You know, I do
Right.
voiceovers. I did 4 voiceovers yesterday. Sometimes I have like 27 a week. And it's like, how many do you actually book? You know, there's this one guy who's been in voiceovers forever. He was in that movie, In a World, Lake Bell's famous film that she created about voiceovers, and like how voiceovers were and like where they are today is so vastly different. But he talked in a modern day time at a SOVIS event, the Society of for Voiceover Artists. It's a community space there for people wanting to be involved in voiceovers. And he says, I go out for 100 before I get one. He goes out for 100 auditions for a job before he gets one. It's like,
yeah.
And my assistant, like, you know, you have to bang the door, knock the door, and like put your energy, you have to put the energy out there. When I first came to Hollywood, I was in my office. I was rolling calls. I had my whiteboard and I was sending out emails, and you don't know. You just put like 1,000 emails out there, maybe 1 or 5 like respond back. And those are the ones where you sow seeds and the ones that you connect with, you know, you have to just, you can't just like, and I learned that at a very young age when I was, in like, I don't want to say telemarketing, but when I was, you know, rolling calls for a company, and I would just leave message, and not take it personal. I was getting paid by the hour, but I was able to see and hear, I was able to feel the breed of people on the other end of the line, how they show up, if they thought it was a scam. And then you're like, oh yeah. And like, if you could even get through the barrier before they even hung up or not picked up the phone, you know? So I think that training gave me a lot of insight when I was a kid to how people are in the world and how they perceive things when you cold call them.
These are really good jewels that you're giving out for everyone in the audience, especially that are interested in learning what it's like to be in the business. With acting, I got accepted into acting school called RCA in Trumbull in Fairfield, Connecticut, Fairfield County, Connecticut. And these are the type of things they tell us all the time when I was there in training, reading Shakespeare, learning modern plays. I did a few lead roles, and it was always like, look, they're going to tell you no, 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 and these yeses are going to be very rare. And you have a career that spans for over 20 years now. You have met them all, you know, and that's one thing I've noticed about just the endurance. And I love how you just beautifully explain how important it is, and those people that you keep around you, that's your support group as well too, right? Like they are always there for you. Is That's why it's so important to have someone that you just want to build with for years instead of trying to look like for the best of the best and try to get you the best. It's really not worth it in the end of life.
Yeah. And I love everything you're saying. It's a mirror reflection. 2 things. One is who I think you would really like is Susan Batson, Batsom, because of what's happening with, you know, the life and the hybrid life of everyone doing everything differently. She actually has online classes now. Susan Batson, Batson. You can follow her on Instagram, but she has drop-ins. It's Monday through Friday at 10 a.m. Pacific. So 1 p.m. Eastern, but it's for 3 hours. Susan Batson, and they're drop-ins for $20. So you could just like do a drop-in and like study with her and like see her vibes. But she's Nicole Kidman's acting coach for over 20 years. Nicole Kidman's never had an acting class in her life. She
Really?
Yeah, she's never had an acting class in her life. She's Juliette Binoche's acting coach. Madonna, Oprah, Liv Tyler, Zac Efron, Usher. Like I've seen Usher, I've seen like Zac Efron. I've seen these people at the studio at Susan Batson. So she's an amazing person to study with. She also has a book called Truth, Truth. It's a great book. I studied with Susan consistently in New York for 1 year. She's great. And then once you get the root and the platform going, then it's a ripple effect of always incorporating it into the work. I myself actually want to do some drop-ins with her as well. But she's great. Susan Batson, if anyone wants a great acting coach and a great book, Truth. And Respect for Acting, Uta Hagen's amazing. I really like that book. There's so many books we could talk about. And then the other thing is it was the more of the business part you were saying, and planting the seeds and being consistent, and the support
Yeah.
team, and then checking in with
Yeah.
yourself, with the support team, checking in to see, am I being sucked by this thing or this person? Oh my God,
Right.
I'm being drained. Because you could have like a leaky sink, right? Like a
Mm.
leaky gut. There's people have leaky things going on, and we don't see it, and sometimes we don't feel it because we're so distracted and we're in our patterns. But we need to hack, HACK. We need to hack and be mindfulness, and say, hey, like, this is a new person in my life. They're feeding me energy. This is good. I want to give this person more energy. Or, hey, I just found out about this thing and it's actually exciting me, and I want to follow that joy. This thing's making me feel like heavy, and it's like, it's always a thing that I'm showing up to that I don't want to show up to. And I've been saying this for like 3 months, and I keep ignoring that. But you know
Right.
what? I'm going to listen to that little voice, and I'm not going to ignore that. And that's the divine femininity in all genders, right?
Mm.
Being sensitive to the acute awareness of our sensorial beings, our body intelligence, our ethos, our body intelligence,
Mm.
because our mind is a tool that leads from our heart, which has over 40,000 neurons in it. Our hearts are very powerful. And as
Right.
actors, as human beings, my shaman, one of my friends, Shaman Durek, or not Shaman Durek, Shaman Harry Paul, says most people live from here up. It's just the communication chakra, talk, or listening.
Right.
And then the mind going like this, the analytical mind. But if we get outside of, from here and here, and start living from here, the gut, our intelligence, our gut brain, our heart, our body, our from our sensorial beings, and we show up that way,
Right.
then I think it's more powerful than living from here up, right? So that's good for
Right. Right.
life, but also for the craft of acting as well.
Right, right. I mean, even being a musician, that's something that definitely, as a percussionist and a lyricist, that I keep in mind as well too. Especially with percussionists, like you got to check in. Even with, in acting class, they will always ask us this beautiful question that I loved. Whenever we want to start improv or where we're going to do a monologue, Mr. Oliberry, God rest his soul, he will always ask, "How is your body?
Really?
How's your body feeling?" Yes.
Really?
Yes.
Right. Yeah.
And that automatically clicks. It's like, let me check in on myself.
And what
Let
does
me
the mind
see.
do? The mind,
Right.
around people, we're insecure. We're taught to not share, not to be vulnerable. Everything's okay, everything's fine. So the mind puts a blanket over it, but actually, like, I want to cry right now. I'm not
Mm.
actually, I just want to, like, go cry, or, like, I'm feeling kind of heavy. But take the moment to sleep, to meditate, to take a shower, to empower, to dismantle, because it's an ocean wave that comes and goes. So the more you hold on to it, put the blanket over it, the more it's gonna, get tight and build up in more stress. But if
Right.
we actually acknowledge, like, I need to, like, and just let, like, this go, because I'm holding on to this toxic thing or person that
Right.
just came over, and I just had a call with someone, like, but if I actually, like, let it go, then it clears my energy centers, my energy, my meridian points, my energy. It clears my body. So I'm like an empty cup of a glass. I'm like an empty
Mm.
glass, right? So I'm like full, to be able to be full again, fill me up with the good stuff, right? Instead of
Right.
keeping
Right.
the old stuff, like, clear out the glass, clean it out so you can have a new glass, right? We do that when we drink water, right?
Exactly.
We do it when we
Yeah.
eat food.
Yep.
To take it to
Yep.
another level, we all, quote unquote, wash our plates, wash our cups. But what are we now? We're taking it to a new level. That seems normal, but how are we doing that? With what
Mm.
are sustainable, eco-friendly products, or products with toxins? Because we can go wash our cups all day and our glasses, but then it has processed chemicals, and then we're eating out of it and putting it into our mouths. So
Right.
for the more detailed awareness of, like, your laundry and what we're putting onto our bodies, because it smells so good, like this cheap fabric or whatever, and it smells so delicious, but actually has all the chemicals. But if you're washing your clothes and it's all organic, and then you put your clothes on and it's like it's laying on your largest organ, your body, and it's going into the bloodstream, is it all organic or is it like processed in chemicals, right? So the majority
Right.
of the people, because of society and where we're at, it's having toxic chemicals go into our bodies and onto our plates, right? So that's like a heightened awareness of those subtle energies, and those subtle shifts make or break how we think, how we show up for the world, and how we show up for ourselves.
Mm. Yeah, I love this. Do you mentor people?
I do. I coach. I do one-on-one coaching. People can contact me on Chonacas.com. I do one-on-one coaching for industry coaching at
I'm
clients.
sensing a mentorship in you. I just had to ask.
Yeah.
It's
So
you
I
have
grew
a
up.
very deep understanding in your craft.
Yes. Thank you.
Very
Thank
deep.
you. I appreciate that. And it's an everlasting ocean of greatness, because there's just always so much to discover, so that's
Mm,
what's really exciting for me. I grew up running cross country with short-term, medium-term, and long-term goals, excuse
hmm.
me. So I learned what I do as an individual affects the whole, and cross country is a team sport, so it's a collective score that we get as a team.
Right.
But what Kelly did on the team, or what Jeanette or someone else does on the team, affects me, affects the team, and we root for each other, and then we root for ourselves too. So I really had that understanding at a young age, because my dad ran cross country and he turned me on to cross country, and I really was able to have that sports mentality of all or nothing. Nikki, to win, just do it, go for it. So
Right. Right.
like just go all or nothing, which also applied to my work, which is life, which is storytelling. It's life or death. Like,
Mm,
we show up and we're searching for our keys, and it's life or death. It's in a hurry because we have to get to the airport, or we need to find our
right.
passport, and it's life or death. And you don't stop looking until you find it. And then when you find it, that's the endowed. That's the release of like, oh, I found the passport. And then you make it or you miss the flight. It's one or the other. But then if you make the flight, everything's great. But if you miss the flight, then you're in another rabbit cycle of
Yeah.
booking another flight and then hurrying that up until you get on another flight, because you have to get to the event or to the wedding on time in Dubai or whatever,
Right. Right. Right.
So,
Right.
but it's a cycle of patterns and stories of life or death, right? That's it. Like, I had to be on this call at a certain hour. So it was like I was
Hmm.
doing what I was doing, and then I had to like, okay, then I could have kept doing what I was doing with my assistant and stuff, but I had to be like, okay, I'll be back. I had to stop and like
Mm,
show up here. But
mm.
I chose to show up here. I get to show up here.
Right.
Thank
Right.
you. Thank you for having me. And to everyone tuning in, thank you for being here.
It, that's awesome. I tell you so much. The way that life just shifts within each second, and you're just
Yeah.
watching it go by, and then you ever take a chance to just sit back and see what other people are doing, and like watch somebody jog. Do you ever get to do
Oh,
that?
I love being an observer. I'm a Scorpio. It's my birthday month.
Okay.
Yeah. Um, I'm actually releasing an album on 11/11, my birthday. I would love for you
Mm,
to hear it.
nice.
Yeah, I have dope beats and stuff. And you, as a musician, I'll send you some beats. And if you want to be on anything, I'll definitely
Oh
send some
wow.
beats over to you. Yeah, I love the music, and it's just like classic One Love. It's like obviously like it's the
Our
same.
song. Yeah. Thank.
Yeah,
Thank you.
same
Thank you.
vibes, same vibes. Yeah, it's really, really cool. I'm like, yeah, this is soothing for my soul. So yeah, I was
Thank
able to
you.
sit
Thank
and
you.
observe digitally, but yeah, I love being in New York. I love traveling the world because I get to observe people. And as an
Mm,
artist, I think one has like the best gift is observing not only oneself but other people. It's
mm,
such a beautiful gift.
mm. So, and what is your album title?
It's called Dreamland 11/11. I'm releasing my first solo um, project, my solo album under my birth name, Saint Kiriaki. So I'm very, very excited about it. I wish it would have happened, when 20 years ago, but it's happening
Right.
now. But it's like you have these gems that are deeply hidden within your soul, and you're like, you want them to
Mm-hmm.
happen right now. Like when Britney Spears came out with like "Hit Me Baby One More Time," I was like,
Yeah.
or "Show me the sign, show me the sign." I'm like, yeah, I see all the signs, but like, I'm like, yeah, I see all the signs, but like, but it didn't happen that way. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But it's happened other ways. You know what I mean?
Right, right, right,
So
right.
it's like, it's funny because it's like you have these like little girl dreams, right? And then Britney comes out, "Show me a sign, show me the sign." And then her career, and it's like, oh my God. And then what just came out, everything about Britney, and it's like, oh my goodness, you know. And it's like,
Mm.
you can the world can love you and know you and be with you. You could have everything, you could be performing, but then be so isolated and imprisoned and alone. And it's so wild because we connect on so many different levels, and I can't wait to meet her in person. But
Mm. Yeah. Yeah.
I too feel, and I feel people relate to her so much because look
Oh
at who
yeah.
she is, and look at the systems of child protective services and low income
Right.
families and people who are so isolated and feel in prison and don't have a lot. Like I was at dinner yesterday,
Yes.
and my friend was telling me she's working with Sticks right now, and he has a foundation. He's from
Mm-hmm.
Watts, and like they told me the number two reason why kids aren't going to school, it's not because of this or that. It's because they don't have a home. They live in vans. They don't have clothes, and they don't go to school because they don't want to show up in the same clothes, smelling with no clean
Right.
clothes. And so, Ecos, the brand that I am friends with, and we create together, they're donating all the laundry. And then this guy from the Chargers basketball football team, he's donating washer and dryers to this program in Watts that Sticks started, so the kids can
Mm-hmm.
have clean clothes so they can go to school. Like it's like the detail of that. Okay, everyone has their different circumstances, so it doesn't matter if you're in that circumstance or the circumstance like Britney Spears. Like
Right.
we all can be isolated and alone. And my grandfather, God bless his soul, Grandpa Raymond, he taught me, he's like,
Mm.
you come into the world alone, you're going to leave alone. Like we really like come into the
Facts.
world alone, we leave alone. And then what happens in between, right? We're
Facts.
in
Yep.
Shaman Harry Paul says we're here for one long breath, right? So
I like
I
that.
need, yeah, yeah. So I get to be aware of the leisure of being here with you, like the privilege of listening and tuning into something digitally when other people don't
Mm.
have the electronics, right?
Right.
It's the simplicity of those things that I always go to when I'm feeling like, because my mind and my fantasy, my album is called Dreamland 1111,
Mm.
and it's all about fantasy and play. So I learned at a very young age about Greek mythology and the poets Socrates and Plato and Mark Twain, and I love the quotes and everyone and everything they were saying, and do it all now and fantasize because of
Right.
how like the society and the world can be. So I latched on to that, and I made that my number one thing, to always be curious and to always play no matter how serious something got. And because I have that, it's also got me into a lot of trouble of being kind of disillusioned and letting my mind go wild instead of having the truth and seeing the truth as it is, which is acting as truth, but
Right.
allowing the play and curiosity to go in so many different directions. But then when I meet someone, or if I have something in my mind, it's the illusion. And if I'm not communicating with another individual, my illusion is this, and then their illusion is something else. So if there's no communication and we're not on the same base field, we're going to be having a disconnect, right? So that's not
Right.
only
Right.
for acting but in life, in communication. So I've learned to vocalize and hack my illusion to share my fantasy with someone else and say, hey, like I'm having a fantasy, this is my fantasy, and I just want to share it
Mm.
with you, you know. So we're dreaming the same dream. Miguel Ruiz has a beautiful book, it's called Mastery of Love, and it talks about like being on a canvas and how we all create our own dreams. Those are the
Mm.
kind of life and death realities I was talking about when we're in such different circumstances, like moment
Right.
to moment for life and death. Those are different like rabbit holes of fantasies we can go in, no matter what the fantasy is, if it's
Right.
pleasurable or if it's a tormented fantasy. But Dreamland 1111 under Saint Kyriaki is fantasy in a dreamland with reinstilling hope and grace and faith in all genders, and embracing to claim and or reclaim our power through the divine femininity. And the divine
Mm,
femininity isn't just female, it's not just male, it's all genders, and we all have that divine feminine in us. With where I was saying earlier, instead of how are you doing, how are you feeling, how you're acting coach, how's your body feeling, instead of ignoring that, like attuning to that divine feminine within inside, right?
mm,
Attuning to that sacred grace inside, and being okay to be not okay, being okay to be okay, and just like exploring those things, being able to cry, and also enjoying sorrow, and enjoying it like in a blissful state, and leaning into those things instead of hiding and ignoring those things, and making it
mm.
okay for all. That's why
And
people like art and poetry, because they
right.
can feel and see things, and because artists are communicating, and we're all communicating together in a unique way. But it's
Mm,
time now in evolution with mental health and being human to evolve with consciousness, to actually, the artists and the angels and the healers, because we all are, God's gift. I feel, I think we're all artists, but how are we showing up as art? Like this pillow can be art, this phone case can be art, like
yeah.
everything's, this chair's art, like everything's art. But we've been domesticated and conditioned by circumstances, and so
Yes.
I show up to embrace the power of breaking the old molds, and
Hmm.
to alleviate and to rise to
Hmm.
a new canvas, and have a new conversation in a new way with one another, and not doing it alone.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I talk about this a lot, especially on the importance of my journey of learning about my indigenous background, and also talking with other people that are also indigenous, and how important it is that our ancestors literally had this blueprint, and it's just the society, the post-colonial society that we're in, that we have to relearn. Americans, especially, we have to relearn. And it's so important because once you relearn that, you don't have to feel like you have to automatically just sign up to what society wants you to be. You could also be free and also be able to live in your truth.
Mm-hmm.
And living in your truth is your truth. It's no one else's truth. And once
Well,
you
well,
learn
well,
that,
well, well, 1 second. There's
yeah.
your truth, my truth, and then there's
Hmm.
the truth. So
Yes,
the
true.
universal truth. So there's not attachment to you or me. It's just
Hmm.
the universal truth. It's,
Right,
neutralized. So
right,
there's
right.
there's three truths. There's what's happening right now, your truth of what's happening,
Hmm.
my truth of what's happening, and then the truth of what's
The
happening.
truth. I like that better. Yeah,
It's just,
yeah.
added
It be-
value.
because nature is nature. Nature will do what nature wants, and
You
we as
know,
men,
yeah,
not as just men, as I hate that term, man. We as humans,
yeah.
we cannot dictate what nature wants to do.
Will Smith has this amazing docu series. It's like 6 parts. I think it's called One Big Rock. It's amazing. I think it's on Netflix. It's so, I mean, and they're an hour long, and they talk about like the nature and Mother Earth and stuff. And
Hmm.
it's there's supposed to be chaos. There's supposed to be
Yes,
disaster. That's a part of nature. And
right,
it was here before we were, and it will be here a long time after. Like, you know what I
right,
mean? The planet is doing just fine with or without us. You know what I'm
right.
saying?
If it
And
has to
but
dish us out, it'll dish us out.
what? Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I, yeah.
And I love what you're saying about indigenous culture, and
Hmm.
the community, and I've been learning and on that path for over a decade, and it's really great to get involved, and to learn and to understand. And I mean, it's really happening because of the transition we're all going through as a collective, and breaking down the school systems and upgrading
Right,
the information. I remember, like, the creator of Mind Valley, which is amazing vision. He was like, he has his own university, Mind Valley University, because he's like, oh, the educational system hasn't been upgraded in over 100 years. He's been saying that for years. And
right.
now they're taking out certain books, they're putting in certain information. And so we're relearning, like you said. And instead of hating on, and oh my god, that happened, and blame that person, and I blame me, or I blame them, or blaming this, and blaming is just so egotistical and so small
Hmm.
minded. but hey, what action are we taking? We're showing up to this podcast. We're sharing information in a new way. Hopefully it resonates and people take what they want. And then instead of judging, oh, like, I can't believe that, or I don't agree with this. No, just that didn't serve me. You didn't eat it. You didn't like it, but just keep on trucking on the journey. Just pick up the gems that are really good, that add value, and collect the jewels and the gems that are good. Same thing with education and sharing and like the unlearned stuff, like, but it's all a part of it. We get to acknowledge it, but we don't have to attach to it. So it's bringing us down, because when we're judging others, we're just judging ourselves. And when we're comparing, it doesn't feel good. It's like a death threat. Anytime I compare anything that's going on, it's just like, no, thank you. It's just, it doesn't make me feel good at all. So, I always tried to come to Hollywood, to all my meetings, because I'd be showing up. Now everything's self-tape, but I'd be showing up and there'd be like 30 gorgeous girls, like mini skirts, blonde hair, blue hair, like jewelry, like all like teeny boppers, like ready, or like young 20s or whatever, like ready for all the roles. And it's like, some are there with their mom, and I was always playing really young roles. So like I'd be showing up by myself, but like they're like, "Where's your mom?" You know what I mean? I went out for like Hannah Montana, that Miley Cyrus played. I went out for that role, and I'm like seeing all these people with like their moms, and I'm just like, oh my god. But like people take their headphones, they tune in, they listen to music. But as a cross country runner, and just being so deep within my soul, I worked with my coach. My team gave me the material. I have the opportunity. I'm in gratitude. I'm preparing. I'm in gratitude. I'm in class. I'm studying. I have a coach. I see my coach. I eat well. I go a half hour early, because if you're going to Warner Brothers or Fox, you have to like park a mile away or in a lot, and you have to go. There's 9 different lots. You have to find the lot. Then you have to go to security, and then you have to like walk like sometimes 45 minutes across the lot in high heels, and then maybe take another pair of shoes. So like, you're not all dripping sweat by the time you're like, getting to the cute little bungalow that's air conditioned, and you have to like, you're like melting. So you have to like go to the bathroom and like touch up and like breathe, you have to prepare yourself. And then you have like, less than 5 minutes to like, okay, all that preparation, you have like 5 minutes, here you go. So, and now with self-tape, it's a whole nother thing, like this would not fly. This would not fly. I could never have this. Like I would have to be on that wall over there with nothing behind me. Flat wall, sound quality good, not looking in the camera, like the fourth wall, having my little remote control that starts it, stops it. Well, my coach is on Zoom here, or FaceTime. My coach is here, like reading with me. So it's just, that's what it went to, and that's where it is now. Right. And then there's all the streaming, projects, which is so awesome. So my number one goal is just being on TV as a household name, after being successful on TV and in film and comedy and drama and music and DJing and painting and modeling and, podcasting and traveling the world. It's like, I dabbled in everything and was very successful with everything that I touched. And now, after 20 years of entertainment and having the deep, reflection in 2020, focusing on like, what do I want to do for the next 2 decades of my blueprint for my personal life and my career, And so I want to show up as I'm doing here and make an impact one person at a time. And share my experience of, 2 decades with you. And if that can support your journey in any way, and then if there's additional questions to follow up on that, I want to be an energetic support system to, heal humanity and tell great stories and have confidence to know we're all gifted and we have gifts and we're very talented in a lot of ways, and be intentional about I won't take any acting project that comes. Like I'll turn down scripts, like if it's like and I don't really get too many cheeseball things because of my team. I go out for all like HBO Max, like, like Amazon. I'm not going out.
The good-ish.
I only go for creme de la creme. And so sometimes it's busy and sometimes it's spread out, but that's the patient in the space in between. And what are you doing in the space in between? I'm taking care of my mental health. I'm connecting with other humans. to put my energy out there in the most positive, blissful ways possible. And all of it is a macro magnetic field of how we're all interconnected. And who I'm connected with is, you know, like you said, Charlie Day, It's Always Sunny, like De Niro, like, you know, Werner Herzog, 50 Cent. Like the energetic fields that I'm connecting on a multidimensional level, like 50 could be sleeping right now. Who knows where in the world he is and what he's doing. But he could be sleeping. But while he's sleeping, I'm here adding value. And maybe while I'm sleeping, he's out there adding value in the way he is. And we're all connected, you know. And then when like-minded spirits meet, and it's like, whoa, and they're like, you're like, oh my God. And it's like, and it's so invigorating because like it's like a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. It like tastes so delicious. You know, it's like you meet another soul and it's like, I'm doing the work, you're doing the work, we're showing up, we're doing the work together, we're making an impact. And that's how people vibe, depending on what you vibe about, right? Like the intent of the lyrics of your song. Obviously, you're hugely into Bob Marley, right? I mean,
yeah.
as am I. So like, I'm like, yo, I'll send you some beats because I hear you. Like I hear you. Like we hear each other, what we say, you know. And sometimes we can hear people by what they don't say, right? And so many people suffer in that silence. And I know because I get choked up right here in the throat chakra. Sometimes I'm just like someone will ask me something and I'll just like, I'm saying it I'm saying it inside and it cuts and I can't say it outside. And if I'm doing that and I have a powerful voice and I'm just getting started, I can't imagine how millions of other people feel. So I totally feel that, you know.
Awesome.
It's difficult.
That was just deep. That was deep.
I'm gonna cry.
That was really deep. I have one final question since we about 4 minutes left. So one thing that I admire about you is how powerfully unapologetic Greek you are. Like you are very strong in being Greek. You know, I love that. Is because you know Greek culture has taught me a lot of things about respecting women just as much as African culture has, and I have learned a lot about the powerful leadership that women have held within the Greek and the African culture, and then how you know Greek and African culture was kind of coexisting together in Egypt for a little bit, and teaching each other philosophies and what they know, and so I think it's so I admire how strong that is. I love people that are proud of what they are and not trying to just be the poster American person. They are like, oh yeah, I'm American, but I am also from here, and this is my people. I am from a people. I respect that so much.
I love you. And I am so endowed in the African culture. Like African American people love me. I grew up in Detroit. Like African American people have always loved me. I have a lot of African American friends. I've been to Africa because I performed with 50 and G Unit in Cape Town, in
It's South Africa, right?
Yeah. And so and then when that huge documentary came out, Searching for Sugar Man, and it showed like he's from Detroit and how his music really affected all the people in Africa, and he's the Michael Jackson of Africa, right? Searching for Sugar Man. And like I just always had this really deep connection for African American culture. And like I was at an event the other day, and it's just like the African American culture, they just always showed me so much love. And the thing is, like I grew up in Michigan, and my parents grew up in Detroit, and then they moved to the suburbs, you know, because of the riots and stuff. Their families had to move out of Detroit because of the riots. Right. And then through generational trauma, we were stigmatized by the news, which I didn't watch because of this very reason. Like all the homes were burning down in Detroit. Everyone was killing each other in Detroit. And now we know what we know because of social media. And now I have some kind of intelligence of the world. And I'm like, were African American people in their communities killing one another, or was it someone else killing them? Were they really burning down their own homes, or who was lighting those homes on fire? Right? I have questions. And a lot of that came up when Catherine Bigelow, the amazing film director, did a film called Detroit, and I saw a Q&A with her at the Directors Guild on Sunset in Los Angeles. And I had so much rage in me and I didn't know what to do with it, but I wanted to make a statement. And I didn't understand what my mom and dad were talking about when I was a kid all the way through my years until I saw that film. And when I saw that film, I understood what happened and the unjust qualities and the unjust actions of what has happened in our society and with people by dividing us. And you know, I really I'm obsessed with African culture. And my girlfriend Tali, she's going to be on my podcast. She's all over the place for the Women Empowerment Series for Series 4 in January 2022. She's from you know, she's in Bali right now. She just had a baby, and she's going to talk about motherhood, divine femininity. But she's from the Congo. And then my other friend Ali Senegali, he's so cool. I have to introduce you. That's his artist name. He's from Senegal. And so I have some really dope friends from Africa. And thank you for bringing that up.
Love to meet him, yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to introduce you right away today. And he's great. And maybe we could all collaborate and do a song together.
Yeah, that would be dope. You know, I'm gonna make you priority because I have a lot of people that's been asking, and I'm gonna make you priority. When you send me those beats and stuff, I got you.
Oh yeah, I mean, we'll have it sent over today. We'll make it happen.
Oh really? Yeah. Nice. Take your time, though. I know you're a busy woman, you know.
Well, the thing is, what my assistant does for me now, I used to do it, and I know how long it takes and what it takes. But now I'm in a different stratosphere, so I don't have the energy to do what my assistant does now. Like I did those things, and I've already done those. But with quantum detoxification, there's no going back. There's pivot, shift, and lifting. It's not like I'm going to be how I was. I've already done that. It's only showing up for myself as I am today and and admiring those things, qualities that worked for me, but showing up how I can for myself today and moving forward and dismantling and knowing what didn't serve me, and just don't bring those into my new today, tomorrow on my clean white canvas, you know, for my craft and for how I show up for people in the world, you know, just leave all that and not judge it. Just, you know, just leave it, and just leave it by physically leaving it, and also leave it by doing quantum detoxification, right? Yeah, if you want to learn more about that, Alejandro Younger has an amazing audiobook called Clean. It's a great book, 12 chapters, his newest one. Alejandro Younger. He talks about environmentally being clean, physically being clean, emotionally being clean, and clearing your quantum, you know, physicality. It's heavy. It keeps us stuck. We have to lift, shivet, piff. Lift, shivet, piff. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Katie Chonacas.
I'm in deep gratitude. Oh, I just got this as a gift. It's called My Intent. Everyone can do these little bracelets, and mine was gifted from Chris, the creator, at my friend's Halloween party, Shaman Durek's Halloween party. It's called Grateful. So I'm so grateful to meet you, to be here, to collaborate, and to sow new seeds and nourish and water those and make them happen. Oh my God, I'm excited. I honor you. Oh, that's good. That's the point. That feeling of excitement. That's the gift in life, right there. Right. Well, I want to thank you so much, and I'd love to have you back on for another season. There's so much I want to talk to you about. I have notes on you. Okay. I have notes on everybody I freaking message, not message, but I freaking interview. But I always try to make sure I get the good ones out first, and then if there's ever a chance in the universe to get you back on, we'll talk about everything else, you know. So thank you so much. Yeah, I'll show up for you. It's my pleasure, of course. Oh, and I want you to have a very beautiful day. And we'll keep in touch. Thank you so much for coming. Thank you. Okay, bye. Bye, everybody. Have a nice day. Collectively transforming community, peace in our human family. Volume of unity, divine light shining individually, collectively transforming community, peace in our human family. One love, one growth, as above, so below. Feel the pain in my soul, the red pill dissolved.
Organize, no matter the cost. Politicians starts wars, they don't fight, they sit in the poor. And nothing lasts forever as long as we stay together. Give hell to the masses, watch the unity rapture. This is for the kids and the culture. It's one love, one growth, one light, light warriors.